NBC's Miami Vice is a very fast-paced drama. And we have two of the stars here in Hollywood today talking with Sandra Santiago, who is a detective, and Michael Talbot, who is, as I say, likewise. Two detectives here. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to talk with you. Your show in imagery is quite different in the way it's presented. And it's exciting and might be one of the most, I would say, fast-paced shows on television. Do you agree with that? Yes. Your producer, I believe, had to do with Hill Street Blues, which is...
Anthony Yerkovich had something like that, and he created our show.
Okay, so both of you are playing detectives. Tell me about your character first, Sandra.
Well, I'm Detective Gina Calabrese, and she takes her work very seriously and takes a lot of risks. Occasionally...
A sincere detective.
Yes. Occasionally fails here and there, and lets loose occasionally as well. You know, has some fun with the guys. Presently having a casual affair with Sonny Crockett. I'm having lots of fun with that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Mike?
I play Detective Stanley Switek. He's the best-dressed policeman on television.
Really? And the handsomest?
Well, it reflects in my personality. Polyester.
Polyester.
So, no, we're just kind of offbeat cops, my partner Zito and I, and we're the comedy relief in the show. And we have a great time. And we actually have fun, and when you see that on television, we're...
It looks as if you do. It certainly does.
It's
And I think it's quite unique that you at one time, Sandra, were not born in Miami, but you moved there at a young age, and now you find yourself back there on your home turf doing a series. It's very interesting.
Yes.
It must be very good for you to go back in this way.
Well, I'm welcomed in a very grand way.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Hometown girl makes good.
And the locale is a pleasure to work in, of course, is it not? What about your background in acting, Michael? Tell me a little bit about where you started and how it came about.
I grew up in Iowa. My parents, unlike hers, were glad to get rid of me. So I said, I'm going to Hollywood, and they said, good, get out of here.
They said, go, huh?
So I drove out in 1973, was 18 years old, and decided to, you know, give it a shot. I did a couple of plays in high school, and I was out here 2 weeks. I answered an ad in Variety, the local actors paper. And it was an ad for a football player with a knowledge of acting. I did a couple of plays in high school, so I answered this ad, and I had no agent, no pictures, no resume, no union.
And you got the job?
Got the part. It was a TV movie called Bloodsport with Gary Busey, Ben Johnson, and Larry Hagman.
Gary Busey. That's a very nice movie to
Bear.
start in. The Bear, yes, that's right. Of course, The Bear we're very attached to in Alabama.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Well, I think that's a fantastic story, and I don't think everybody has that kind of luck answering an ad in the paper.
No.
You know, that they break in that way. And you, Sandra?
Well, after studying some theater in a couple of colleges, I head out to New York and had my debut on a Broadway stage.
Really?
In a play called The View from the Bridge. And that's where I got a lot of good notices and attention, and was seen by a lot of people.
So now you find yourself being a detective. You didn't think you would end up in the police department, did you?
No, not at all. I've never played a policewoman before.
Yeah. Well, as I say, it's so different because of the whole image of the show and the way it's presented, and so colorful, and all the graphics and things like that. And somebody really had a great idea. That was different because there are a lot of cop shows around, you know, that more or less follow a system of ideas, I think. So how do you feel about it? Are you enjoying it, Mike?
I'm having the time of my life.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm just grateful to have a job and be working.
Well, when you have a show like this, and there are quite a few people involved on the police force, like detectives and cops and whatever, you interpret it in your own way to try to make it unique, I guess, a little something to stand out on your own, right? So that you don't become part of the whole montage.
Well, I think you have to. For,
I would think so.
identity's sake. Otherwise, we're all going to be just bumping into each other, and it's going to be this mess of police and no identity. What are they, you know?
Right.
So that's what we try to do every week. Everybody has their own little, what a craziness about us, or whatever you want to call it, you know. So.
Okay, it's nice to know you're in charge of the Vice in Miami. Sounds good to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Cook, who is Elizabeth. And I'm delighted to see you. And you don't look like reptilians to me today, of course. But all of the makeup that's involved intrigues me, number one. Let's talk first about that. It's quite entailed for you. Talk to me about the makeup and how easy is it to get off or how difficult?
Tough.
My first scene on the show, I came out of a cocoon. And aside from being covered with green slime, which washes right off, but at the time it was not so attractive. But at certain parts of my body, they had glued on pieces of lizard skin, which stretches like rubber. So I stretch it and peel it off and whatnot. And they had it on my arms and my hips and my face. And to get it off initially was not fun, but then for literally 2 weeks afterwards, I'd find little pieces of green glue behind my ear, or, you know, over here on my arm, and
It really
it's yucky.
Yucky. Yeah, that's a good word for it. It certainly is. And it takes a long time, of course. It's time-consuming, I'm sure, to put it on in the first place. I have it put on. What about, how do you enjoy being reptilian? And you're a pretty strong character as Commander. Talk to me a bit about your character.
I'm having great fun with it.
You're in charge.
I'm in charge.
Yes.
They're developing my character somewhat. I was getting a little bit fed up with Diana always beating me, so I'm now doing something about this. I don't want to kill her off entirely because Jane and I are very good friends. But we're developing a lizard culture. There's a lot of things happening. Instead of having the aliens come in on the resistance side, they're having a definite story on the resistance side and a definite story on the lizard side. And it's a lot of fun.
A lizard culture?
Yeah.
Isn't that something? And of course you do consume animals like rodents and things like that. Didn't it amuse you to watch yourself doing that the first time you saw it on the screen? My word.
Watch it. How about chewing on it?
How about chewing on it? Well, yeah.
You know, I keep asking for white chocolate if they're going to have mice, please. I mean, I'm not keen on dark chocolate, but white chocolate would be great.
Well, you have a very strong character, and obviously you were enjoying it. And by the way, I did enjoy you on Magnum as Rick's girlfriend there. That looked like a fun thing itself.
That's my pink bubblegum character. Yeah, far cry from Lydia.
Oh, and Jennifer, tell me about your character. Some of the things that you know of that are going to develop, or do you know from time to time?
She's going to become more of an adult, a more prominent part in the resistance, rather than just kissing Kyle in the corner. She's going to be out there on the front lines, along with Julie and Donovan, and really assisting in winning some of the battles. Her powers are
Mystic powers
going to grow, and there are going to be some new ones added, and I think that's very exciting. She's going to do some really neat things.
Of course, you're only half
Yes.
lizard and half human, which is quite a combination to deal with, I would imagine.
Well, it's fun because I get to play the human side as far as falling in love and not being the perfect regimented lizard.
Yes.
And yet I get
It's almost
the
a
good
dual
part of
role.
the lizard in that they give me the powers.
Yeah, very good. I was thinking, you are from England, right? You were born there, and is that where your acting career started?
Yes, I suppose I've been acting for about 13 years or something, and I was doing a lot of mixture of theatre and television and stage and commercials.
And what eventually brought you here to?
I had this little voice in the back of my head that kept saying, "June, go to America." I kept saying, "Shut up." And it kept on at me, and one day I said, okay, I'll go.
So you really made that decision to come and find your own?
Well, actually, I came out for a vacation and to have a good time, and I thought I'd have a look around and see what the work possibilities were. And the minute I arrived, I felt right here. It was something about smelling the atmosphere or something.
Yeah.
And the work possibilities were a whole lot more than they were in England, because, of course, a lot more movies are being made here and there's a lot more television. So I thought...
Great way to take a vacation, I'd say.
Right.
And what about you, Jennifer? When did you start?
When
How
I
did you
was
start?
9.
Oh?
my mother wanted me to be a concert pianist, and I was at a recital or a talent show or whatever, and there was a woman there who was a manager for television commercials for children.
Lots
and
of commercials,
asked
I understand.
my mother
yes.
and I if we'd be interested, and we said sure.
Yeah.
And
And
I've
now
been
you didn't
going
think
since.
you'd end up, after all that training, being a reptile, half reptile anyway, did you?
No, my mother thought I'd be playing Anna in The King and I, or one of the many Grace Kelly roles. I think she's a little disappointed.
Yes.
Oh well.
Okay, well, we'll be looking for you on V, and we'll watch your characters develop. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Doug. From that relationship and that sort of thing. And there is a moral there, but more so than that, I think there are just things within the framework of the shows that I've seen this season that we all at one time have either dealt with or we know someone that has been in that predicament. I find that the themes of the show are becoming much more adult. I mean, they're dealing with very realistic things. They're dealing with them in funny ways, but that doesn't take away from the seriousness of what's going on.
It's one of my favorite shows.
Oh,
I look forward
it.
to it. I really do.
love it.
Because it touches so many facets
Yeah.
of life with the kids.
It really
and
does.
with Dolph and his set ways.
Yeah.
And Nell, well, she's so bombastic
Yeah.
that she just
Yeah.
fills the screen.
It's
and
a
now
terrific
you
show.
have the
It's a terrific show.
same projection in
Yeah.
a different area, really.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons we work well together, because we're both very, outgoing and that sort of thing.
I'd like
but
to be there and hear some of the dialogue off
you
camera
should.
once
yes,
in a while.
you really should, or maybe not. But one thing is that she and I don't do the same things, even though we're
No.
both very bubbly and that sort of thing. And so we really do complement each
Oh,
other.
you're entirely
and there
different,
is
yeah.
somewhere for each of us to go, and there's something that she can learn from me and something that I can learn from her.
When things get pretty hectic
Yeah.
on the set, does anybody yell, "Give me a break"? I imagine
We
they
say
do.
it all the time, and I'm trying to figure out whether I say it now more because I'm on the show or just if I said it all the time and didn't notice because I wasn't on the show. It's really, I mean, I always say, oh, give me a break. Oh, God.
On that note, I'm going to bid you goodbye.
Oh,
while you're
give me
still
a break.
That's right. Give me a break. Thank you,
You're
Thelma. Good
welcome.
luck. Third successful season for Remington Steel on NBC and TV10. And Doris Roberts here in Los Angeles talking with me is one of the main reasons why. And we're very happy to meet you, Doris. I've always wanted to because I've admired your work so much and the versatility of your roles. They're so different.
Thank you.
Mildred Krebs is your character in Remington Steel, which is quite different from the role you played, say, for instance, Angie series. And the bag lady that you won the award for in St. Elsewhere. So tell us how you feel about Mildred Krebs. How do you see her? Who is she?
I think she's a great role model for a lot of women across this country. I think up to recently, if you were 50 years old, you were obsolete.
Right.
And I think today, with all those wonderful ladies from Elizabeth Taylor to Joan Collins to Shirley MacLaine to Doris Roberts, we prove once again that 50 means nothing. You don't have to compete with youth.
It's a pretty good group of ladies
Oh,
you
they're
just named.
wonderful. Yes,
Yes,
but
really.
they're willing to admit to it, you see.
Yeah.
A few years ago, they would not say that. They would be afraid to say, oh, I've turned 50. But things are changing now.
And isn't it marvelous?
Yes, it's wonderful. And I think I represent middle-aged, middle-class, middle America. And I'm very pleased to be who I am. I'm very content with myself, which is a nice feeling. We don't always feel that way, but I happen to be at a point in my life when I do. And I like who I am. I like Mildred Krebs. I think she's full of life and great vitality and a willingness to be courageous and start again. You know, she started off as a very uptight, humorless woman, and she's kind of juicy and
Now
and
she's
ready.
really involved in
Yes,
things, isn't
yes,
she?
Yes, as we should be in life.
Yes.
You can't sit back.
We could do a whole thing on what they should acknowledge over 54.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because women all over the country, I think, have been crying for that so long.
But it takes women to have the attitude. It's a concept. It's an attitude about life. You are not obsolete. You're not finished. You're not useless. You are just beginning another phase.
What a great feeling that must be to have a character that you feel that way about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're very blessed, and you're so marvelous at it, too. Okay, now, actually, I understand that you've had the experience of going on some fabulous locations for the show. Let's talk about that a little bit.
All right. We went to Dublin, which was wonderful.
Ooh.
Just wonderful.
That was quite recently, wasn't
Yes, I just got back.
Did
we were
ya?
there for 2 months. Went to Dublin, shot an episode in Dublin, shot an episode in the south of France, in Cannes, and shot 2 episodes on the island of Malta.
Oh,
and that was fascinating.
Great.
Quite different than the locales were quite unlike anything I've ever seen before in my life. It was wonderful.
It sounds like it. It certainly does.
And Mildred falls in love.
Oh, what's new this season? Mildred falls in love. Okay.
Twice.
Oh, twice.
Fickle woman that she is.
Well, maybe the second time is better, right?
Maybe.
We'll have to see how that comes out.
bet.
Yeah. Well,
You
that's
bet.
another involvement that
Yes.
that the character would not have had the way she started out on Remington Steel.
no.
So you're really growing in the part.
I
aren't
think
you?
so.
Yeah.
I think so.
So-
I think we all can grow. We can learn from a woman like that. She's not intimidated by youth, which is a good thing to learn.
What about the relationship of the young people in the cast, Laurie and Remington?
Well, that still is an enigma, isn't it? We never quite know what, and that keeps it going. That keeps it kind of exciting and intriguing and mysterious, and there's a little jeopardy involved. I think that's exciting. I think an audience likes that.
Yes, because I think they want them to get involved, but yet they're not really sure exactly how it's looking. And if you plot it all out for them and make it too normal and too quiet, they don't really watch, do they? That's true.
And it has great style, and it's very witty, and it's
Yeah.
humorous.
It's
and
a beautiful
It's
show.
lovely,
Beautifully
isn't it?
done.
Yes, yeah.
Now, Doris, you have quite a few Broadway credits. Did you start out on stage and then come to the
I've been on the
media here?
Broadway stage for 20 years.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
for heaven's sake. Where are you from originally?
I was born in St. Louis, but I left when I was a little tiny thing, and I lived most of my life in New York.
Now you live out here in Los Angeles?
I live in New York and Los Angeles.
Is that right?
Yes.
According to what's going on when, huh?
Yes,
Yes.
I'm what they call bi-coastal.
Do you think, I mean, do you feel that doing a series is a bit of a chore because it's so regular, or you're just quite used to that, I guess? But I just wondered about that. Is it confining more than...
Not really. I love the theater and intend to go back to it as often as I can. But when you think about it, more people will see you in one Tuesday night than if you had spent your entire life, every single day of your life, in the theater.
And you know, it's such an intimate media because it catches the people where they are. You're perfectly right, and they relate to you so warmly. You're in their home.
I think the most rewarding thing that happens to me when people stop me on the street and say, "Oh, you're Doris Roberts or Mildred Krebs," or whatever,
right.
is that they tell me how much joy I bring into their homes. What a wonderful thing to hear.
Oh, yes.
I mean, and that's a
your,
lot of love coming back to me, and it's very nice to hear that.
That's your purpose in life,
Yes,
isn't it?
yes, it is.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing many more seasons with Doris Roberts on Remington Steel, right here on TV 10 and NBC.